I'm Andrew Morse. I'm the president and publisher of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Wanted to welcome everybody here tonight and mostly wanted to say thank you. Thank you to everybody for giving up your time, for joining us here tonight. It's a really special evening for all of us at the AJC, and we hope that this is the first of many events like this. Today, Unapologetically Atlanta, which we're here to celebrate, is a newsletter devoted to covering and celebrating Black culture in this city. But that's just the beginning, what we're doing today. We hope to build this brand, this Unapologetically brand, into something truly special at the heart of this city, into an entirely new product, and we're just getting started with it. And we're thrilled to go on that journey with all of you. We're all really fortunate to be living in this city at this time. As our friend Bem Joiner, who's here, and I'll embarrass him, but as he likes to say, Atlanta influences everything. That has never been more true than it is today. And the thriving, dynamic, influential Black culture in this city is one of the reasons, undeniably, why Atlanta influences everything. So, look, I'm a transplant. I've been around Atlanta a lot for the last decade, but there's a difference when you're going back and forth for a few days and when you roll up your sleeves and dig in and move here. And what I'm starting to see from the minute I arrived at the AJC is that I've had such an incredibly warm welcome from people in this town. So many of you are here, and they're all eager to introduce me to this city. And when I listen and when I hear about what all this city has to offer, without question, every single conversation that I'm in has turned to the tremendous opportunity that we have at the AJC and that we all have in our community to connect in meaningful ways to this dynamic and vibrant and thriving Black community that is influencing everything. So we're thrilled to be able to spend time tonight showing you what Unapologetically Atlanta is all about. We hope you already read and subscribe to the newsletter, and if not, please do, because there are more good things to come from it. And we hope at the end of the evening tonight, we'll leave here with more exciting ideas for what this brand can be and all the ways that we can all connect in meaningful ways between the AJC, Unapologetically Atlanta, all of you, and the community in our city. So thank you so much for joining us. And with that, I will hand the reins to the AJC's managing editor, Leroy Chapman.
Thank you, Andrew. Again, I'm Leroy Chapman. I'm the managing editor for the AJC. That means I'm in charge of the daily news gathering at the AJC. Things like politics, things like crime and public safety, education, the economy. In other words, a lot of heavy stuff, right? So that's my job. And one of the things that I've always wanted the AJC to do more of is things like this. We need to celebrate Atlanta. We need to connect better with our people. We are uniquely positioned to convene very important conversations in our community. Sometimes they may be heavy, aimed at solving problems. Sometimes they should be exactly like this, which is celebrating who we are. So I want to say this: there is no place on earth like Atlanta. And let me tell y'all a quick story. My wife is not here, so I can talk about her. And don't get me wrong, me and my wife, we tight. I married my prom date, so I've been married a long time because my prom was a long time ago. But I ain't here to talk about being 52. I'm here to talk about my wife. So we were at a charity function, and this was a couple of years ago, back before the world changed, and we were at the Hyatt downtown, right? So, it's a black tie thing, right? So she's dressed to the nines, and, I got on the same tuxedo I put on every single time. And so she puts in effort, I just do the same thing, right? But so here we are, I drop her off because she's got on heels, all that kind of thing, and she goes inside, right? So I go park the car, come back up, and I see my wife, and there's a woman there just taking picture after picture of my wife. And I'm like, what's going on, right? And so I'm like, they mistake her for like a housewife or something? They must think she's famous or something. And if they had, my wife would have just played along. But So the woman who was taking the pictures walks away, and I asked my wife, I was like, who was that? And she, she gives my wife a big hug, and I was like, who is that? And she was like, I don't know. I'm like, what? So you just weird, right? You just let someone take pictures of you like that, right? She said, well, she walked up to me, and she was really complimenting me on the way I was dressed. She said she thought I looked fabulous. And she asked me about the event we were going to, and she kept gushing, going on and on and on about how she'd never seen so many good-looking people in her life, right? So, it's Atlanta, right? The furs were out, the heels were on, the stuff was pushed up and all that, and we look great now because this is Atlanta. We look great. But what I'm telling you is that this woman was taking pictures of my wife and other people because she was sharing them with the people back home who also had never seen or experienced anything like Atlanta. So again, there is no place on earth like Atlanta. So I will give ourselves one plug here at the AJC. As Andrew talked about, Unapologetically ATL has a great intention, and I am grateful for it. Like I said, my job is really a bunch of heavy stuff, but this job is about connection. It's about being able to talk to an audience in a very specific way, and we want to do that, and I am dedicating myself to do much more of that. So if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to Unapologetically ATL. And also, too, in convening important conversations, it's going to take leadership. We have leaders that are either here or supposed to be here. I mean, our mayor is supposed to be on the panel. I don't know exactly kind of where he is at the moment. He's here? Okay. So the mayor of Atlanta is here. That says something. And I think Lisa Cupid, the commission chairwoman of Cobb County, is here. Are you here, Chairman Cupid? Jamaica Chat? Did not see you. Thank you. Not only is she here, she almost at the front. So, do we? Is there any other elected leaders here? I mean, I hate to sound like my pastor who tells all the pastors to stand up, but that's what we might be. Who else is elected? Oh, school board chairwoman, please stand. And listen, the reason I do that is that this is about connection. And one thing that the AJC does every day and should be doing is connecting you with our leaders, with the people who make decisions, because we want to make sure you're informed. We want to hold them all accountable to their words and their deeds. So that's part of it as a news organization. But again, we are able to convene people. And so that's what this is about. And look forward to more of these. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to go ahead and bring the panel out now that I know the mayor's here. So we'll get on with the folks I'm going to introduce first our AJC folks who are principally responsible for Unapologetically ATL. So first we have Nedra Rhone. So you know Nedra probably from her column. She has been at the AJC for how many years now, Nedra? 17 years. So Nedra was a prodigy and started when she was 10, right? Yeah. So Nedra Rhone has been here for 17 years. And please look out for her column. So Nedra writes about issues that are important to our communities, and she's especially attuned, of course, to issues involving women and issues of culture and things like that. So she's an important voice for our community, and we're certainly grateful to have her involved in Unapologetically ATL. And next, we have Ernie Suggs, this gentleman here. Come on, Ernie. Now, Ernie has been to AJC how many years, Ernie? Somebody said 200. How many? Ernie has been here 26 years, y'all. He started when he was 50, so he looks very great. He looks pretty good for 76. But Ernie, again, if you don't know, he wrote a book last year. And if you haven't been able to, I think that deserves some applause. So his book is The Many Lives of Andrew Young. So Ernie has been in a unique position in his tenure here at the AJC because, he's chronicled the lives of our civil rights giants post-movement, right? So as they all settled into leadership of another kind, whether it be, John Lewis or, of course, Andrew Young, who wrote the book about many, many, many others, there's no better authority on that than Ernie. But Ernie's also become, over those 26 years, an Atlanta guy. So he, of course, again, is someone we are grateful for and lucky to have with Unapologetically ATL. So these will be your moderators for a good discussion today. And so now we will introduce the panelists. So we have, I think Andrew already mentioned Bem Joiner. Yeah, come on up. So Bem Joiner is the founder of Atlanta Influences Everything. All right, Bem.
These are my family, so they're gonna correct you and they're gonna tell you Bame. So
Oh, Bame. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Listen, man.
It's family.
Listen, man. I get it too because my name is Leroy, which is because I'm country. They try to put the fancy Leroy on me, and I correct them too. So I get it. All right, and Sonia Murray's here. Where are you, Sonia?
Yo.
So Sonia used to be a AJC reporter, and her work resonates today because she wrote that first draft of history of that intersection of hip hop and culture for the AJC, and she was indispensable to telling the Atlanta story. So I got to tell Sonia, and I think I've told this before, I knew more about Atlanta when I wasn't living here because I knew Sonia Murray and I could find her online. So Sonia's part of the panel. So you can see Sonia? And Nedra, and I think we are waiting for the mayor. Yeah. Okay.
All right, everyone, while we're waiting for the mayor to arrive, we have a special treat for you. We have a spoken word poet here tonight, Adán. He's going to give us a little something to get us started.
Hey, how are y'all doing? Y'all look very attractive. I get the opportunity to be in front of a lot of ugly audiences. That's not y'all. It's very appreciated to be here. As it's been said, my name is Adán. I am a poet. I'm an MC. I came to Atlanta in 1999. Went to AUC, Morehouse College. I've got student loans to prove it. I graduated, and I love this city. And when my brother Bame reached out to me, told me about this event, asked me to come out and do a piece that hopefully kind of sets the tone for this fabulous, remarkable, enlightening conversation that we're looking forward to having, I jumped at the opportunity. So I'm going to do a poem that some of you may have heard, many of you may have not, but it's a poem called The South Got Something to Say. And I love this city so much. I'm a transplant, but I've been here for over 20 years, and I love this place so dearly. But I love it not because it's perfect, because it's not perfect. But I love it because it's mine. And hopefully you might resonate with some of the things I say might resonate with you. So, with no further ado, we have gathered in this place, all unfamiliar but yet we family, distant but unified. This is an art church service invocation that has been designed for you and I. This has been written to the tune of Dirty South, to Goody Mob's Fly Away, to a midnight train to Georgia. This is a companion piece written by Pearl Clegg. Long before Andre 3000 told a crowd in New York that the South has got something to say. You could hear our cries rise from deep within that red clay. This has been directed by Kenny Leon, choreographed by T. Lang or Gawaiian Mata drums squalling, captured on canvas by Dr. Fahamu Peku or Charmaine Minifield or Fabian Williams. This city is a siren for the arts, and so many of us have answered its calling. This is all okra and sweet tea, banana pudding and peach trees. We provide the soundtrack to any function, even if that junction is spaghetti. Confederacy memorial mountains and mayors named Ray or Keisha, also a mayor named John who would strum his guitar in front of those Eddie's attic bleachers, home of our king, the preacher, the thinker, the dreamer, his remarkable civil rights legacy. We even Habitat for Humanity, right? Like we peanut farmered the presidency. This was produced using a 30% film tax incentive. This has been lemon pepper wetted, waffle housed at every exit. Home of the forever inventive, it is a simple, glaring fact. Our content has been soaked in the cuisines of Busy Bees and The Beautiful and Mary Max and Fat Mats and Miss Ann's Snack Bar, no counterlean. And this was actually constructed during a 3-hour wait in line at Slutty Vegan. Y'all been there. But see, when a city that is too busy to hate somehow starts to find the time, when gentrification can become an act of violence and no one is listening to the victims of the crime, where you can judge a society by how it treats its least, as it is often said, I've seen stranger things here than The Walking Dead. We are a city experiencing growing pains, expansion, border shifts. We'll court companies like Amazon or law enforcement and ironically be willing to destroy a forest in order to headquarter them, but see, try as they might, they cannot condo our culture to death. They cannot beltline our brilliance. Marie Kondo our indigent, unhoused community that is tidy up the houseless for a 2019 Super Bowl and then try to leverage our current identity for some future soul. Hell no. This is ATL, ho. Home of the artisan and the educator, the athlete, the author, the painter, the innovator, the culinary chef, the curator, the politician, the preacher, the grassroots activist, the organizer, the leader, the scientist, the celebrity, the farmer, the speaker. It's also home of those kids fundraising, but you're not really sure if they're part of a team, but they at every stoplight and off-ramp. Right? This is for every native, the Grady babies. This is for all of us transplants. This is Olympics 96. LaFace Records. So Deaf billboards. Back when Apache Cafe was yin yang. Even then, my friend, we did the damn thing. See, Atlanta truly influences everything, right? They branded it so you don't forget it, because see, we focus on creating the culture, not the credit. It is embedded in the root. We do the work. They pluck the fruit, but the entire world knows where to go if and when they want the juice, the sauce. We are the dispatchers of the drip, the high priest of the hip. Whether behind the pen, the brush, or the lens, they come to Atlanta when they want the realness. There's something about this place that makes it safe for the creative endeavor. It is fertile soil for the imaginative and the experimental. It honors the efforts. We house Hammonds and Wonderlands and Hollyweirds and Cities of Ink and Stanconias. We not at all New York. We're not trying to be California. We are south of the north, but yet we north of the south. We are a city out of nowhere that is everywhere if you look around. Our DNA has made its way to every nook, cranny, corner, marketing meeting, boardroom, and block. We been had something to say, and the entire world has been watching and listening, whether they admit that or not. The South has got something to say. My name is Adán Bean. Thank you so much.
And I'm sorry, I kind of jumped the gun the first time, but I want to give this guy a proper introduction. So he is a son of Atlanta. He is Mays High School. He is Georgia Tech. And he won an election, and that made him the 61st mayor of this city. Welcome, Andre Dickens. And so now I'm turning it over to the panel.
Well, thank you all for coming. What a great performance by Mr. Bean. Thank you so much. And I want to start this conversation out. I want to start with the mayor, since the mayor has just taken a seat. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Bam. I'm sorry. We're going to do that all night. Thank you, Bam and Sonia, for being here tonight. But I want to start off this question for all of you all, but I want the mayor to answer it first. Our great poet talked about a lot of this stuff, but for all of you all, what are some of the things that define Atlanta's black culture? And how has that evolved over time? You're a graduate of Mays High School, proud of that, I'm sure. But just how has things evolved for you over time? And what is this culture?
Wow, that's a big question because, like you said, I'm born and raised here. I'm like a fourth generation Atlantan. My whole family, everybody pretty much went to Atlanta public schools. And I went to Georgia Tech and Georgia State. So just about everything, all my existence is Atlanta. I grew up in Adamsville. I live in Collier Heights, a planned black neighborhood of 1,100 homes built by black developers in the 1950s. So black culture for me is the AUC, right? This is historically black. Colleges and universities, this is the complex, the place where it all occurs, the diverse talent, the bedrock of the civil rights movement, the cradle of the civil rights movement, as we say. I think, you know, the black culture here is inclusive, it's inviting. I mean, people come from all over. I mean, I'm looking out here, there's some natives and then there's some near natives. Some people that's been, you know, pre-96. You know, we have all these determining factors, right? Like if you got here before the Olympics, all right, you know, you all right, we accept you, man. And then, you know, us real, like all the time Atlantans, we'd be like, oh, you grew up and you went to Stone Mountain High? Where that at? You know what I mean? It'd be like a whole lot of, my best friend Larry, he's a Redan Raider and I'm a Mays Raider. I didn't even know where Redan was, Brandon. You're on the other side of the mountain, bruh. So anyway, we get into it in Atlanta, but then we do that and we know that around the world, all of this metro is Atlanta. They don't know College Park. I mean, 2 Chainz grew up in College Park, Ludacris down there. I mean, you know, the Migos from up north, you know, Gwinnett or somewhere like that, Duraville or something. You know, somewhere where you gotta get a helicopter to get here. So nonetheless, the black culture of Atlanta is diverse, it's widespread, it's still growing, and it is so impactful, so cool. Our art scene, our music. Like, the last thing I'll say, because I know I'm answering this probably longer than you wanted, it's tough. It's literally a tough culture that don't seem like it, because New York and Philly been talking tough their whole lives, right? LA talks tough. But then I grew up when the Miami boys tried to fight all Atlanta off, and Down by Law and the Stray Cats and some other folks forced them out of town. So I'm talking about like pre-Olympics, seeing infiltration by folks that wanted to take us over, and we like, oh, it's all cool. Everybody's having a good time. Oh, and then eventually we're like, oh, we gotta fight y'all out of Atlanta. So I think that the culture is strong, it's sturdy, it's endured a lot. It's been analyzed by people on the outside of how to try to reproduce it. So I would say it's something else.
Sonia? Same question.
I mean, I thought we were friends until you had me follow the mayor. I mean, that's his, gosh, that's his stump speech.
Because I knew you could handle it.
Wow, what a setup. Okay, I mean, I can't just say ditto, but it's great that Atlanta's a place where I can sit next to, a fellow Mays alum, and he's also the mayor of this city. It's great that I can look around and see people who I know own businesses here, who I wrote about at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, who are still thriving. It's great that I can sit on a panel with you all, with Bem, my arch nemesis, and know that you, honestly, you and Nedra, are capturing that still illustrating the culture with Unapologetically ATL. I am proud of what I did at the paper, but I'm also proud of what you all continue to do, and that there's so much still to write about, so much still to say, and yeah.
Mr. Joiner?
What was the question again?
What are some of the things that define Atlanta's black culture? And how has that evolved over time?
Well, immediately, Atlanta's black culture is just like whatever the white culture is somewhere else that's white. And I found out that I guess that's considered black privilege, you know what I'm saying, if there was a such thing that you can find in America. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand what Atlanta's black was. I went to Jackson State, the Jackson State University. And you got a doctor lot over in Southwest Atlanta, right? And they're like a bunch, it's Atlanta, man. You could throw a rock and hit like a black lawyer or like a black real estate agent, a black doctor. And we need those things, first of all, because other people can't be trusted with us in those spaces. But I didn't know that was not normal other places. So I'm like, in Jackson, I'm like, yeah, my dentist, man, that's the homie. Hold up, your dentist black? And I'm like, yeah, why? What you mean? Like, that's a weird question. Why wouldn't my dentist be black? Or it could be I just need a dentist. But it's Atlanta, so I got a bunch of black dentists to choose from. So I guess the simplest way to put it is just very comfortable in blackness, however comfortable an African American is supposed to be in a country that we ain't asked to come to. The height of that comfortability is Atlanta, shawty. Like, that's just what it is.
So I'm not sure if any of you attended one of our previous live events, but we talked about Atlanta being known as the Black Mecca, and I have to be careful when I say what I'm about to say, which is we were asking if it still is, right? And I learned that you have to make sure that you ask that in the right company, because people will get very mad at you if you make that suggestion and they don't agree. So when I did that story, one of the things that I learned was that the migratory patterns of people, black people and specifically, that are coming to Atlanta have gotten younger and less affluent. And I think that people really have an impact on the culture of a city. So I wonder, I'll put the question out to the panel, how do you feel that the younger generation of people coming into the city has changed the culture of the city? And yeah.
Start with the mayor.
You asking the oldest one up here how the younger people? No, I'm just kidding. So I really enjoy all of the folks that are coming here with their new ideas, et cetera. But just as the poet said, he quoted Goody Mob. As I was walking in, I heard Goody Mob fly away in his words. And it says literally, if you don't like where I stay, fly away, and fly away. Like they said 3 times, like giving you notice that if you come here and you only got complaints about here or only the desire to change us to where you came from, fly away. That's a real demonstrative. This is inclusive. We're like, and also in that song it says, you come to my house without wiping your feet on the rug. Gipp said that. You can't come to my house without wiping your feet on the rug. Like, don't come in here and dirty it up and just trample all over it. So that's why I say we're tough. Like, we'll let you know, like, we want you in our house. We want you around. We value our diversity. We value the dialogue we have, the conversations we share, but please believe that there are some protocols that can be established, which is some, yes, sir, no, ma'am, please, thank you, and how you doing? And those things are where I think if you are young, you may see yourself at the height of your who-ness, like you got it all figured out. And Atlanta is a place where we figure things out together and we share ideas and we converse about things. But I think that, trying to answer your question around youth, I remember, exploring Atlanta through Freaknik, exploring Atlanta through college, exploring Atlanta as a small family, growing a family, exploring Atlanta as a small business owner, exploring Atlanta as someone that put my name on the ballot over and over again to say, I will fight for you, Atlanta, all the way through and through, and get interviewed by 100,000 people on behalf of you. And so when I see folks come here and they be like, wham, Atlanta need to do this, and I'll be like, wait a minute, like, you still on Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International property. You just flew in and you came here with your ideology, and I'm like, let's not do that. So I think that there's a value in appreciation.
Bam, do you have something to add to that?
So the Goody Mob Fly Away, I'll Raise You, the Witch Doctor, a SWAT Healing Ritual album, a song with CeeLo, and at the beginning, Witch Doctor said, take your shoes off, ground is holy. So in that same vein, in terms of like young people, I'm 44, and I actually spoke to the mayor. We had a talk about what I feel about ages, and there's a question, if y'all ask it, is based around generational differences. So I might save another piece for that. But in terms of young people in particular, at 44 years old, I identify as Gen X, but there's this space called, I guess, Zennial, where you Gen X, but you got millennial traits. And I apparently have more millennial traits than most of my peers that are my age. So I identify as a creative. And, I most definitely was, my behavior, how I live, I most definitely was not trying to put my name on a ballot. I'm liberal arts, you know what I'm saying? 2.57, 2.75 GPA. Whatever you think about what that is, you know what I'm saying? So that's like middle tier. But like, I love music, yo. Like, I love music, I love sports, I love culture. And because of my age group, and I'm a male, you know what I'm saying? I have testosterone, and so I want to compete. You know what I'm saying? New York, LA. I want to be the best. Like, how can Atlanta be the best? And so when they're New York and LA young people move to Atlanta because those cities have priced them out, we get that energy. You know what I'm saying? Now, when they get here, because of the name of my company, Atlanta Influences Everything, the age, so 96, for context, Atlanta did have an aggressive, like, well, if you don't want to be here, fly back home. And, we do have this shirt so there's a shirt that says, we full, right? So the we full is counter to the Goody Mob Fly Away. Obviously, folks ain't flying away. They apparently seem to be trying to fly in. And so some of the things that they say while trying to fly in, these are some dope people trying to fly in too, you know what I'm saying? And so some of the stuff that they say, like, damn, man, is damn still considered a curse word? They say it on The Simpsons. They say it on The Simpsons. Adult Swim, okay. What they say is, have y'all ever thought about trying it like this? Because where I'm from, they had figured out this like affordable housing for artists thing, right? Like somebody will say that about where they from. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm like, dang, you're right, yo, that's interesting. And then they'll show me an article about how another country or another city, it could be Nashville or somewhere, has figured out like how to support their creative class through housing, right? And so I'm like, okay, you're not from here, but you want to be here, and you just giving us some information to even help us be better. You're not even giving that to your hometown. You bet. So I don't know what to do with that information when they give it to me, right? Because they're here, they're young, they've got this energy, but and I did the number one for Gen Z, right? But it's heavy kind of on cost of living, even though that's going up. But this is just a good place to fail. And what I've been told by the creative class is that it's because of the airport, it's a hell of a pass-through. You see what I'm saying? And so certain things that are created here by the young people, by the creative class, because they could not do that where they were from, because of our lack of infrastructure in certain areas, they kind of like use us as a test lab, but they don't give it to Sylvan Middle School, right? Because it's like, well, what's a Sylvan Middle School? But they've created something dope. And I want to end with, in terms of young people, there's a young guy named Kai Cenat, Kai, maybe Cenat. The platform is called Twitch. So, I know you know Twitch, we both got daughters. So, that's what the young people are on, right? And the systems in the city, not just city government, but across, so it could be county, it could be the ARC, it could be agencies, nonprofits, right? You got folks dealing with overseeing stuff, but they ain't never really heard of Twitch. And so this particular guy, Kai Cenat, he broke the Twitch streaming record. He's from New York. He apparently lives somewhere in Gwinnett. And he's on the Beltline filming content. Now Drake is online arguing with Twitch executives about why they should pay this guy $50 million for breaking their streaming record, right? And he's in Atlanta, and the young people are on Twitch. In my mind, I gotta go get this guy and tell him about the Year of the Youth, because that's how I take a Gen Z person who has influence. And it's not even my job. I'm a citizen, my G, like for real. Like, you take this guy who has all this influence, and he has to come into what we doing. But because he's here, he's already taken the first step. But what I found is there is nothing on the other end necessarily to engage that young Gen Z type of audience where we could benefit from all that amazing creative energy they had. So,
are there things that we can do, Mr. Mayor, from a city level or that you have in progress that might address that?
Yeah, I mean, one is this city is open for ideas. I mean, so first is always to say that we don't have it all figured out. I always talk about I draw circles and don't draw lines. I'm going to keep drawing the circle wider, and you keep bringing your ideas, and we'll figure it out. I didn't come up with the Year of the Youth. Somebody told me that last year, that because I said I wanted Atlanta to be the best place in the country to raise a child by the time I'm done with being mayor. I want us to be the best place to raise a child. I said that back in April of last year. Didn't know that by the end of the year, Money Magazine was going to say Atlanta's the best place to live, and that, what magazine is that said Atlanta's the best place for Gen Z, or that Atlanta's the best place for creatives. Like, we literally, in 2022, through a significant amount of investments in the arts and in the nonprofits and in young people, we literally got on the map as, wow, y'all are like putting money in the hands directly to artists. Just last week, we did $725,000 directly to artists. We actually have a creatives fund at Invest Atlanta that we stood up, that artists can go get money directly. We have housing for artists at an Adair school that literally, when I was a city council member, I made happen with Stan Sugarman in there. So if you're an artist, you get a studio right now that has space for your artwork and for you to live. The challenge is that we have to speak from a strengths-based perspective. What we have can get better. Talking about what we don't have is great conversation around a bar, but ain't nobody building it at the bar. We need to take what we have and do more of it. And so I'm always asset-based, always strengths-based. I mean, like I'm looking in this room and I'm saying, who want to do what? Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Put your plans together, and let's make some things happen. But, so this is the year of the youth. 2023 is the year of the youth, and we got, something like $5-6 million riding on it. Like, I put that in the budget, my team, to hire 3,000 youth for the summer. Some of those youth are being hired in entrepreneurship training. Some of those youth are being hired as artists, et cetera, to work in art galleries and work in art firms. So these are things that we need helping hands with. We need 404 mentors by 404 Day. We need 404 mentors by 404 Day. That's April 4th. So literally, go to atlyearoftheyouth.com and sign up to be a mentor. I was talking to some young people, and I'm going to pass it back to y'all. I was talking to some young people, and they said, man, I love all the programs, but we programmed out. I just need a hug. It was like, man, we just need some of y'all grown folks to just come hug on us, man. Come take us somewhere. I need to just sit down at the gathering spot with you. Or I just need to go to Local Green and get a sandwich. Can I just hang out with you and hear you answer the phone? Because I ain't got nobody at my house that answer the phone and be talking to Bem Joiner. I don't have nobody at my house that's talking to, Lisa Cupid, the Cobb County Commissioner, my sister right here. Raise your hand, Lisa Cupid. The big old Cobb County is ran by this woman, right? And her colleagues. But they just need a hug. That's what they said to me. And I was like, man, I'm up here giving all these nonprofits more and more money so they can serve more kids. And they was like, yeah, we're going to join a nonprofit. We're going to work with one of your people. We're going to go to the At Promise Center. Yeah. We got APS. We got that. But, man, I just swear to you, man. I mean, y'all grown folks just be zipping by us. We need a hug. We only get hugs from our teachers. Can we get a hug from a Coca-Cola exec, Carl Hill? Can we get a hug from, can I get a hug? I need a hug. Y'all been beating my ass for the last, beating me up for the last month. I want a hug. I'm a kid too. I'm sign up.
So after this event, we want everybody to find someone to hug, like in church. So let me ask you all this. The mayor, you alluded to this about kind of pre-1996 and post-1996. I moved here in 1997. All of you all are from here, right? Sonia, where are you from?
I'm from Fort Ord, California, but my father actually retired at Fort McPherson before it was Tyler Perry Studios.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
So let me ask you all this. I moved here in 1997 after the Olympics. The paper wouldn't hire me during the Olympics. That's another story. But I still have a feeling when I look at people like you, and you talk about Mays, and you talk about Doug, and you talk about Collier Heights, and all this stuff, that there is something special about you all that I don't have, right? Because I've lived here for a long time. This is the longest place I've ever lived. But I feel like I'm fully Atlantan, but I still feel like I'm missing something. So what am I missing by not being from here? If that makes any sense?
You want me to start? Because I be talking a lot. You talk the least, so you say yours, and I talk a long time.
I mean, again, I'm not from Atlanta, but obviously I've lived here the longest as well, since 5th grade, and it was Sylvan Elementary then, and then to Woodward Academy, and then to Mays High School. But I feel like, what is remarkable, my parents still live in Southwest Atlanta, and that when I leave their house, this literally happened one weekend. I was leaving their house off Cascade, and as I was coming out of the house, I saw Mayor Keisha Bottom's husband, who also went to Mays, so I passed by him, coming down Danforth, get to the bottom of the street on Cascade, and I see Martin Luther King III. All on the same day, get on the highway, and DJ Toomp honks. That seems remarkable as you look around, it's like you see all those people, but to me, and I think to Atlantans, that's commonplace. You almost forget, as you walk by, as I went to the cleaners, that, John Lewis was also at the same cleaners a lot, that you could walk by and see Sue Ross capturing all of these events just day after day after day. I think outside it looks remarkable, and because of the way that, Atlanta's presented sometimes with all of the reality shows and so on, they think it's one thing. But what's remarkable about it is the people that live here that aren't necessarily on camera, that are here doing things that they, that are remarkable in themselves. But that to me is Atlanta. Like I said, sitting next to the first mayor from Mays High School is something I take pride in. sitting, my mother taught at Thurl. And people often claim, in Atlanta, what high school they went to. That is a very Atlanta thing. And when you say, like the mayor was saying earlier, when you say what high school, it says a lot about you. That's all very Atlanta. And that it also is something that you can take pride in as you look around and say that. So missing out on it, I think just because you didn't have those formative experiences here. Because the person that I grew up with, a grade behind me was Rosanna Chili Thomas, who became TLC. It's like you have those connections and you know not only them, you know their mother, you know their aunt, you know where their aunt still lives. You still see them at, at whatever Kroger or Publix it is. It's a star, it could be a Peach Buzz, it could be a celebrity kind of thing, but it also is very Atlanta at this point. There are so many people doing remarkable things that aren't just in music. They're civic leaders, as Bam's saying. They're people who create. How many people do you see that where Atlanta influences everything that aren't from Atlanta, that don't live here, that want it? When my cousins come here, they always want to go to Candy's restaurant. Why is that? But do you understand what I'm saying? It's like the people that we see all the time or grew up with us, and you have those kinds of connections with. That's what to me Atlanta is.
I love it. I'll give a story that I have never given before, and I'll try to make it quick.
So, breaking some news here?
When I was in middle school, when Andre 3000, Andre Benjamin, he was in 6th grade at Sutton. I was in 7th grade at Southwest. Calvin Favors, another guy called Tony Hightower, a musician. His mama, God rest her soul, Teresa Hightower. We were in a group of folks that we would trade clothes so that we looked like we had more clothes. And my cousin Vance back there remembers this. So I had a Fila jogging suit. Andre had either like a Lacoste Sportif or a Adidas jogging suit. And like Tony had like a polo and a da-da-da. So we would get together on Sunday and I'd be like, here's mine, here's yours, here's yours. So that week I was fresh. I'm like, man, you got a new jogging suit every week. Now he wasn't a rapper at that time, he was just a dude. And so Tony wasn't a singer, his mom was a singer. And I wasn't the mayor, I was the skinniest dude on the block. But we would get together and we would trade clothes to look cool. So when you say, like, what did you miss out on growing up? You missed out on changing clothes with me and Andre 3000.
It's a big one.
But the reference point is, he became famous long before I became whatever y'all call a mayor right now. Like, the mayor, he's real famous and I'm just around here working hard. But like when he hits me up or I hit him up, he's like very revering and referencing our youth and from whence we came. And there's no big I or little you in our conversation. Like we are eye to eye, and so is Tony Hightower, and so is Calvin Favors, who works for me because he works at the airport. So I guess you normalize all the human experiences from the greats that are Andrew Young that's walking through the grocery store and I get to meet him and I at 16 say, I wanna be him. Because when I walk through my schools, I see the President of the United States, the governor, and then 2 black dudes, Andrew Young and Alonzo Krim, who was the school superintendent. The 2 black men wore suits and they were on TV talking about good things for us. And I said, I want to be them. I want to serve my city, and Atlanta's the best place in the world to be. Mind you, I had never left Atlanta. But I said it's the best place in the world because my neighborhood was off of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. My high school was Benjamin Mays, who's a black man. Frederick Douglass was the school that some of my friends went to. On and on and on. Maynard Jackson was the first black mayor in the South. La 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 la. So I grew up in a place where excellence was normalized. I had a black dentist then. I got a black dentist now. I got a black doctor then. I got a black doctor now. My house was built by a black man. My realtor was black. My real estate attorney was black. My architect was black. My appraiser was black. My painter was black. My piano tuner is black. And I ain't like like my clothes right now by a black man that's in this town. I smell like Savoir Faire, which is a black cologne company in this town. The little dabadoo I got in my hair is Talila Wajid, a black woman in this city. My watch is an Adán, which is a black-owned watch company in Atlanta. Like, it's literally not hard to do for me. So what you missed out on, going back to it, was like, my ecosystem, it's like available. It's like what I need. It's like very within reach. You know what I'm saying?
Recently, we've seen the city on the national stage for a range of things, from politics to Cop City to the YSL trial. I mean, you name it. How do you think that some of these events are going to shape the culture of the city? How will it change?
So, at our time we talk, I ain't never even mentioned Cop City to you ever. I don't even be. So, first of all, like when I posted this event, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this talk on and it's on culture. I mean, it's on, this is what it's on. So, when I tag that I'm doing it with him, like I don't even mention cops. When you go through my social media, you won't really see nothing on Cop City. Because I'm about what I'm about, and I'll get to that when I get to that. But as soon as I post this and tag him, it's people talking about, man, what's up with Cop City? I'm like, damn, why you asking me about what's up with Cop City? You know what I'm saying? My company called Atlanta Influence Everything. Look, I identify as a creative, and the influence is across sectors. It is far-reaching, yeah, so it can touch different things. But Cop City first, so I know folks that grew up over there, old Atlanta. And all I can say to that is, when I heard, I was out of town with my dad for 4th of July weekend last year, and they threw them Molotov cocktails. I said, oh boy, you can't throw no Molotov cocktail at Atlanta. Like, it's finna be a problem. So, ain't nothing really happening. So, when I heard about stuff happening in the trees, I hit my homeboy Antonio. That's his neighborhood. Bruh, you in the trees? He said, nah, bruh, I'm at the crib. So when he checked around, I found out wasn't nobody I grew up with in the trees. I'm like, well, who these folk in the trees? You see what I'm saying? Not for real. And I'm not saying that nothing should have happened to the folk, but in America, when you get in somebody's tree that's not your tree, folk be talking about stand my ground. I don't know I don't know. So my folk went in the trees. What I stand for is the creative economy. And the YSL trial. So Nashville is Music City, right? And because they have identified themselves as that, what I've learned in terms of how cities work and certain things, in human to human, when you love somebody, I guess you put a ring on it, right? But what I'm learning in terms of how cities work, if a city really love you, it feel like, right, they might dedicate some real estate to you. So in Nashville, there's a place called Music Row. You see what I'm saying? And that's where the business, now it's country music, I give it that. So we got to use our blackness to fight against the system. You see what I'm saying? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You see what I'm saying? You influence everything. You Black Mecca, you Wakanda, heavy is the head. So the rest of Black America looking at us like, what you gonna do? And my point in saying this is there are rappers in Nashville, and my homeboy raps in Nashville. He said, man, why do rappers in Nashville keep going to Atlanta to get a record deal? Ain't no music business in Atlanta. Not for real. They don't cut no checks in Atlanta. They cut checks in Nashville. Now, it's country music. But in his mind, he said, why don't we do the Atlanta thing and take over our city and make it black? But we keep running to a place that don't have the music business, right? So now you got YSL out here. The whole Atlanta, it's a vibe, it's fun, it's energy. But that energy got to connect to something. Other than that, it's just out here floundering. And when you out here floundering, as my mama told me, you can get in some trouble. You see what I'm saying? And so YSL is the extent of very creative people. Young Thug got Grammys, yo, don't forget. Like, very creative people that are floundering. So the talent is in Atlanta. YSL is the talent. But you see how he calling on Kevin Lyles and those are execs. You see what I'm saying? The execs of the industry are in New York. And so what Atlanta, if Theroux and Doug and Mays breed more execs, not just talent, but the business of how this works, then we can start to control our culture. And controlling our culture in Atlanta means we help black people control their culture in America. But with no control, right, you just got folks running around here doing anything, which allows for greatness to be created because there are no boundaries. There are boundaries in other places, so you can't create. But you can create in Atlanta, but there's the business of culture, the business, not the vibe, not the feeling, not the dancing, but how the money is made. So the brands are run by white boys who smoke weed. We smoke weed, we get in trouble. Thank you for the $75 ticket, because you used to go to jail for a blunt. Now it's $75. So, okay. But what I'm saying is the business of how things work in entertainment and culture, they're still either run by white people or black people, like a Kevin Lyles, who they're trying to call on the witness stand, that aren't from here, and he's gonna fight for the music industry. That man ain't never really kicked it on Cleveland Avenue and Road Martyr. And I like Kevin Lyles. I actually wanted to be Kevin Lyles. So that's all I'm saying. The YSL trial is also a lack of creative business infrastructure that does not exist in this city from a business standpoint.
So we're running out of time. This has been a great conversation. So we're going to have a couple questions from the audience. We have Todd and Deja out here. Now, I want to make sure before you get on the mic, questions, okay? So anybody, questions?
Hey, good evening. Do you feel that people who move to Atlanta have an advantage in terms of hustle versus the people who are from Atlanta who may take it for granted?
I think it's a good question for the mayor.
That is a good question. I think that it's not universal, that everybody's different. There's a lot of people that's from Atlanta that have a lot of hustle, and then there's people that have moved here that bring hustle. I mean, look at Jason Orr here, created Funk Jazz Cafe, which we loved and wish would come back like immediately. And it was full of surprises of people that were from Atlanta and some that's not from Atlanta. And there's so many people, like literally in this room, that have deep roots in Atlanta, but just weren't born in Atlanta. So I do believe that sometimes people in Atlanta, because you have so many requirements when you're from here. You got grandma you gotta go see. You got auntie you gotta go see. You gotta, like every time you don't show up to something that they want you to show up to, they call you out on it. So you have a lot of requirements when you're here. Whereas when you just fly here and you're just trying to eat and grab, you don't have a lot of, I don't want to call it weight, because there are also people that uplift you, right? But they do come with a lot of requirements. I can't go a whole month without hollering at Sylvia Dickens at her crib, right? My aunts and my family, and like gotta check in with my school. Like when I go to a school, every other school is like, hey man, we went to school together, why you ain't come to my school? Like I was at, oh, you don't come to schools over here. I go to a church, another church, that'd be like, man, you ain't come to my church, you don't never come to my church. Like literally, I just came here from being in a neighborhood right next to the Public Safety Training Center. I'm knocking on doors like as if I'm running for office again. I'm knocking on doors. How do y'all feel about Public Safety Training Center? How are you doing? And before I even left, people in the adjacent neighborhoods like, you ain't even come to my neighborhood, right? I be like, man, everywhere I'm at, I'm not somewhere else, so I'm gonna get knocked for being somewhere else. So I say to hustle, like when you're not from a place, you don't have all this baggage that's not baggage, but it's required activity. And you can't just leave it behind. I got like cousins that's in this room right now. Like he called me like, what's up, player, can I come through? Yes, always, never forgot. So that's what I just say, yeah.
So right to that, the way we were raised in Atlanta public schools, at the time period, I came out class of 97 from North Atlanta High School. And, you know, old Atlanta, yes, so black, we were taught to be 5 times better than white people, right? Now, on the other side of the Olympics, and we heard stories about how Atlanta was gonna grow, and like a lot of people were gonna move here. Now, what we did not know, and I can look at Atlanta public schools in the way, I just spoke at King Middle School for a career day, so what I still see is this like Southern, like sip lemonade, chill in the shade type of vibe. When we done put the bat symbol out in the sky, that we influence everything and this Wakanda. So my Uber driver she was from some weird town in Iowa. Like it wasn't even Des Moines. She said, she's black, I need to get to where my people at. So she moving with intention. And so at some point on the hyper-local standpoint, because it's the hyper-local people that actually depend on the systems. You see what I'm saying? If you move in here, you hope the system is in play, but I'm assuming you had a strategy that didn't necessarily depend on the system per se. But if you in Atlanta and we taught, you know, you vote, you civically engage. So these people that you're dealing with, they're supposed to have hyper-locally your best interests in mind, you know what I'm saying, prepping you. But the black people are moving here because they see the film industry, they see jobs at Tyler Perry, right? And so they moving aggressively like, oh, I gotta go get that. And it's the black version of us. It's like 5 of me, whatever I am, right? And they like, yo, bet, Atlanta, I'm going. And so they finna hit Tyler Perry, like, oh, we finna do that. But Thurl High School, which is down the street from Tyler Perry Studios, right? However that deal was done, you see what I'm saying? Community benefit screaming, whatever. I'm telling you, I talked to folk in the area, Thurl. There's no agreement between Atlanta public schools, Atlanta whatever, and Tyler Perry Studios. Like from that, hey bruh, overnight, you not from here. Cause Tyler Perry ain't go to Mays. He a transient, he not from here. God bless him, amazing, but he not. So overnight, we done made this man who was homeless, living in his car, making amazing content. He done became the largest studio owner, right? He over the white boys overnight. Atlanta did that, not New Orleans, bro. I don't deal with the Saints. He from New Orleans, that's where he from. He in Atlanta. But however we did that deal, we ain't work out nothing with that man. It's like, hey, bruh, we finna do this for you. You see the high school down the street is called Thurl. I need a workforce development program that didn't happen. You see what I'm saying? And so now this great man is quoted. I called him a great man. I don't want no. This great man, there's a fence around the thing, right? So whenever he decided to come out, take some stuff off layaway, and do some that's his relationship with us. But we done missed the opportunity. Now we got to come ask this man for something. You see what I'm saying? I'm from Atlanta, bruh. I welcome you here, but no disrespect to who you are. But I'm of this, and fertile soil and wet concrete was laid by my elders so that you could become the largest movie studio overnight. But I need you to deal with us for who we are and not keep trying to pull in. So yeah, that's, you know.
Najja has a question.
Oh, I got the mic. Okay. Hi, Mayor. Hi, my name is Tamika Newhouse. I am humbled to say that I'm one of the recipients of the Year of the Youth Grant. My organization, thank you.
I don't be lying, you see?
No, he gave me some money, y'all. So my organization, AAMBC, which stands for African Americans on the Move Book Club, we produce a literary arts festival called Black Writers Weekend. And my life's work is creating opportunities for writers to be able to build connections and also amplify their dreams. So I like how you, brother, was talking about that there's no real business here that can help amplify those dreams. And so what I would like to know is if you guys can offer up some advice, because there's a lot of people in the audience tonight, and I'm actively doing the work to try to create opportunities. And with your grant, I'm able to also help the youth create and build their self-esteem as well. But how can people in this room who may not be attached to a nonprofit, may not have an organization of their own, or may not even know where to start? I need some help too, y'all. But how can they also begin to also do their part so that we can kind of lead the way and we can hold on to our communities, and also we can help the next generation of creatives and entrepreneurs.
Great question. I want to first thank you for doing such an amazing job that you won the grant. You won a grant because of what you're doing, right? We didn't just hand it to you. You competed, and your ideas and your demonstrated experience led us to say, here's money for you to do more of that, serve more kids. Ishay Collins right here is the chair of Atlanta Public Schools Board. Wave your hand, Ishay Collins. This beautiful sister right here has 50 to 55,000 young people that she and her colleagues are responsible for. Joy Hunter. Joy went to Doug. She went to Doug High. She next to DeJuan that went to Doug High. But they next to Greg Clay that went to Mays. Yeah. So we do this like all the time. It's like never stops. Mays versus Doug and Therrell and everybody else. But I'll tell you, people that want to get involved in this is definitely go to ATL, Year of the Youth. But those that want to be writers, you have Camille Love right here, who is the director of the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs and part of Cultural Affairs. Wave your hand, Camille. This woman right here does some amazing things with her team in the arts. I can't do an arts grant without her permission / oversight over it and her teams, which includes writing as part of the arts. So get to know Camille Love. She does more than produce the Atlanta Jazz Fest, y'all. I know that's the big thing that we know that she does, which is amazing, which we just announced one of the most amazing lineups ever for this Memorial Day coming up. But she is also a historical figure in this city, along with Sue Ross, that can help you get connected to that writers group to help you get where you're trying to go. All right?
So
I'm sorry, Ernie. I got to interrupt for 1 second. Hi.
Hey.
I got to kick you out. It is 8 o'clock. You're on a schedule, and I'm trying to save you from yourself.
Yeah, we supposed to.
Hey,
Did-
hold
what the-
on.
what the mayor-
Are we going to the same?
We going to the same place.
Can I catch a ride? No, for real.
For real? Yeah, you catch a ride.
We're going to wrap up, but
Okay.
Mayor, do you have one more time for one more question?
Yeah, we got time for one more question. We drive.
No,
we
it's
get
a
there.
question from us. It's a question from
Okay.
us. Since you got to leave,
Me and we gotta leave.
since y'all gotta leave.
Me and Bane
How,
gotta leave.
and so, you know, this is Unapologetically ATL newsletter. This is Unapologetically ATL event. How are you unapologetically ATL?
Man, I don't apologize for anything ATL. I am celebratory ATL and unapologetically ATL. It's in my veins, it's in my blood. You know, I put on ATL every single day. I don't have another desire than to see the growth and uplift of everyone in the ATL. So, I mean, I've been a citywide elected official for the last going on 9-10 years, meaning that I've had to ask ATL to serve them every day. The whole ATL, I'm unapologetically asking you every day, can I serve you and will you serve with me? That's who I am, and I literally go around the world, around the United States, around 285, yelling it out the window. So that's that.
Since you're riding with the mayor,
So, unapologetically ATL is like having this Maynard Jackson mindset with the Hosea Williams kind of unbossed energy. So, I hope I ain't make nobody uncomfortable, but whatever you felt, it was a mixture of that. And I'm hip hop, I'm from Atlanta. I'm hip hop. Was raised on NWA, not necessarily say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. So my energy is of the 50th anniversary of hip hop energy. And right quick, it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop and 150th anniversary of Atlanta Public Schools. And so I'm a product of APS, and I grew up on hip hop, so that's my energy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Sonia?
Yeah. Y'all, well, unapologetically, I never apologized for being, like I said, I'm from Fort Ord, California. That's where I was born. But obviously, I went to middle school, elementary school, high school, and came back here right after I graduated from Howard University. And have been writing for the paper, going on to View 103, which is another, CBS Radio, which is another Atlanta institution here, on to Georgia Public Broadcasting, which, not only is, thank you, on to, the public radio station. So in each of those different mediums, I've been able to tell Atlanta's story, and I've been proud to do it.
And she does a great, great job of it, for sure.
My first job interview out of college was with Sonia Murray.
Sonia Murray, the truth. Well, you got the kids press here. We got it. It's the year of the youth. We got to hear from the kids. Can we do that, please, Ernie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's hear from the youth. Oh, they got a mic right there.
You grew up in Atlanta, and now you are the mayor. What would you say are the greatest advances you have seen in the city over the years?
Give it up for her for that question. And for her strength in asking it, and I love that. There are a lot, and I'll just start with a few. The first African-American mayor of Atlanta, Maynard Jackson, in 1974, he took the same oath I took, and within 7 or 8 months, he shut down the airport because he saw that there was only 1% of the contracting going to African Americans. He thought it robbery. He thought it bad business. He thought it immoral. And so he did something about it. He stopped all the construction on the world's busiest airport, what was going to become the world's busiest airport based on his foresight. And he said, I think we need some fairness. We need some justice. We need some opportunity. So he required, at that time, 25%, that since then we lifted it up to 35% and above. And 25% of these contracts have to go to minorities. And then we added on later, when I say we, I was still a kid, but they added on later female, women-owned businesses. And then now as the mayor, we're up to 37% because he laid the foundation. And that is revolutionary in that something as big as the world's busiest airport, still right now, when you go in there and you buy some chicken at Popeyes, when you look at the HVAC, when you feel the air conditioning in there, when you see the bathrooms, the tile, the people that are, handing you out, selling you sandwiches or smoothies, 37% of that economic power and above goes to minorities. He set the standard and he says we have to have that. This is a $6 billion a year operation at minimum, and he says 30-some% of it. He said 25% of that time, we're at 30-some%, has to go to minorities. So a lot of people around here have put in on that. Greg Pridgeon and some others, we have designed this thing to be the world standard for inclusion. He has passed away, but he left a legacy that me being 7 mayors later can never not do, because it's in us and it's for us, it's by us, and it's important for the whole ecosystem. So that's just one. And time won't allow me to give you so many others other than us being the #1 in TV and film in the nation. The #1 for hip hop to be created here. And us being the world's busiest airport and also #1 place to live in the United States. Oh, that's great. Thank you.
And that reporter who asked that question is Sky, who's with the Scholastic Kids Press. So look out for her in a couple years. She'll be working for, I'll be working for her.
Okay, we are way over time, so we're going to wrap this up here with some remarks from our newsletter coach. Yeah, you can leave if you have to.
Everybody, let's please give the mayor and Bem a big old hand. Thank you all for being here. All right, y'all, my name is Najja Parker, and I am the... I have friends in the audience. My name is Najja Parker, and I'm the newsletter coach at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I am also a very proud member of the Unapologetically ATL team here. Before we leave, we do want to acknowledge our sponsors. We'd like to thank Atlanta Technical College for 55 years of serving the community and making sure that people understand technology and education. We'd also like to thank Brown Forman They are the owners of Jack Daniels, the tequila that we had tonight, also that Woodford Reserves that we had tonight. Did you all enjoy your signature drinks? They had one thing that they did want me to share with you. They told us that it's important to Brown-Forman that our brands create inclusive opportunities for diverse individuals across the industry. Our brands are a great way to use our platform to storytell and uplift others. We know that we're a very large company with a large voice, and we really want to use that for good when it comes to helping and assisting others, and we are committed to diversity and inclusion efforts every day. So let's give another round of applause to our sponsors. We also have to give a great big thanks again to our panelists on stage, our moderators, all of the featured entrepreneurs, and everybody that helped make this event come to life. And especially, we must thank every single one of you who are in the audience tonight. We are truly, truly grateful for your participation in our very first in-person event for Unapologetically ATL. If you did enjoy tonight, just know that there is more to come. Every month, Unapologetically has a themed issue of the newsletter, in addition to our weekly stories that we tell every Thursday. So if you haven't signed up already, please go to our website at ajc.com/unapologetically-ATL. And if your memory is not very good, please see me, Nedra, or Ernie. We'll give you that link and the QR code so that you can sign up immediately. So again, thank you so much for coming out tonight and spending a little time with us. We will see you at the next event, and we will also see you tomorrow when the latest edition of Unapologetically ATL drops. And one more thing before you go. If you want to answer the question, how are you Unapologetically ATL, I would love to hear from you. And you can meet me right in the left-hand corner, and we can talk all about it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.